What's going on, traders? This is Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is April 1st, 2021. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today, we're going to talk about the price action in the headline indices. We will go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We'll talk about some of my trades for the day, and then we'll wrap up with some options order flow. But before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer. As always, nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, let's jump right in here. And we have a nice shortened holiday week. Hope everyone has some awesome plans for the holiday. Hope everyone just gets a chance to get some rest and relaxation, some family time, all that good stuff. But we ended off with a bang here. We had the S&P 500 up 1.08% for the day. We had the Nasdaq QQQ up 1.7%. We had the IWM small caps finish up 1.27%, and we had the Dow Jones finish up 0.38%. So if we take a look at our S&P 500 here, you can see we finally hit the 4,000 mark. So the S&P 500 closed at 4,015.25. We have a clear breakout from this new monthly value area, and we closed right on the highs of the day. So really nice way to end the week, really nice way to go into the holiday. And you can see, we're above all the key moving averages. At this point, we're actually a little bit extended from this 20-day simple moving average. So we'll have to see if we get some sort of consolidation next week. But we are looking, positive on all time frames for the S&P 500. And you can see on the hourly time frame, also looking very positive here. If we pull up our NASDAQ, the NASDAQ really turned the corner today. So you can see NASDAQ, we've really been, underneath the prior monthly value area. But today marked a new month. We got a nice gap higher, and we actually followed through and closed on the highs of the day. So really nice finish for the QQQ. And at this point, we are actually above the monthly value area. We are no longer in that downtrend. So yeah, really positive action for the Qs. If we look at the IWM for the small caps, you can see IWM, we are still in this monthly value area, but we are now above this 20-day simple moving average. And we're above the monthly point of control as well. But it's interesting to note that now on a trending basis, the Qs actually look better than the small caps, which is a big change from the prior month. And also, if we take a look at the Dow Jones for this new month is within the monthly value area. So a bit of a role reversal here where the Dow Jones, typically it's a big laggard, but over the past couple of months, the Dow Jones has been incredible. Went on a really nice run that caught a lot of investors off guard. But you can see now here, it's not really leading in terms of the trend for the month, but we're still above this 5-day EMA, and we're still above the 20-day simple moving average. So overall, still looking positive. All right, let's take a look at what happened under the hood here. And we are going to start with our FinViz heat map. And you can see all these tech names showed really nice strength. We had Microsoft up big, Google, Amazon, Netflix. So all these names that have really been sucking wind the past month or so, really came together today. And you can see the semis were very strong. Financials as a group were very strong. Energy, real estate. But then there were some areas that were pulling back. We had a pullback in the consumer defensives, pullback in healthcare. And you can see we're kind of mixed in the industrials. But overall, nice solid breadth. One thing that's noteworthy, you can see Tesla closed down on the day. And this one, is my bellwether for all of the high growth, high valuation names. So if we take a look at our sectors, for the most part, green across the screen here. So you can see in terms of our top sectors for momentum, we had the home builders finish up 1.73%. We have our retail ETF in the second slot and our blockchain ETF in the third slot. Coinbase, they're actually doing their direct listing in about 2 weeks. So I'd imagine there's going to be, some hype, within this space. Semiconductors. Semiconductors had a ripper of a day, up 3.68%. What's strange though is, semiconductors, it's like, why aren't they in the top slot? They had such a crazy day. But you can see the monthly performance really isn't that great because the semis actually took a pretty big fall over the past couple of months. You can see the laggards for today. We had solar energy down 1.19%. We had healthcare down slightly, consumer staples, and utilities. So a lot of those more defensive areas of the market had pullbacks today. Then if we look at our style factors, green across the screen here, you can see we were led by high beta, led by international momentum, and led by momentum as well. But you can see, broad strength here. This was a really nice rally to end the week. So if you take a look at some of my trades for the day, let's pull these up. Yeah, and my game plan for the day was, we're going to have this big gap up, but I'm sure there are going to be players out there that are chasing the rally. So I was like, all right, if I put something on, I'm going to try to put it on earlier in the day and not wait and sit there for an hour after the open and then be like, oh God, all right, now I'm putting something on. That feeling, it's happened to everybody where you're like, let me see what happens. And then everything's up like 7%. And you're like, wow, I don't want to add, up that much. So, I quickly in the morning, I added some calls for Taiwan Semiconductor. They had a headline the prior night that they were going to be investing about $100 billion in new facilities and new capabilities. And Taiwan Semi has been a really nice leader throughout 2020. So this name, I had been looking at it for a while, and I was like, when's this one going to wake up? And you can see here on the weekly chart, this is a nice weekly candle here. So I figured, like, a lot of times when a really good stock sort of gets like very dormant, like people aren't paying much attention to it, a lot of times it takes that headline to really like jumpstart the move, get people looking again. So you can see Taiwan Semi closed on the highs of the day, and it closed above this 50-day moving average, and it's above this monthly value area. So I really like this name. Another one that I was looking at, towards the end of the day, I think this is another good semis name. This one, Brooks Automation. If the group continues to move, this one's very close to a breakout here. You can see really powerful move today. So definitely another interesting one. All right, let's pull this up. Okay, another trade. I put on some Facebook calls for April 16th expiration on yesterday. Paid $8.90 for those, closed those out for $11.55, very early in the morning. I figured, if I want to stay in Facebook, I like the way Facebook is setting up. I think it looks super bullish. I was like, if I want to stay in, maybe I'll just roll the position out in time. But given that my calls were so short term, I was like, let me take them off. I ended up taking them off, towards the high of the day, above $300 a share. But yeah, Facebook looks very nice, especially when you look at this weekly chart. That's not the weekly chart. Yeah, so you can see on the weekly chart a breakout above this yearly value area. So yeah, definitely still have Facebook on the radar. Closed out. Oh yeah, I took some AMC puts. They announced the secondary offering. And this is one of those where the implied volatility is just so high in AMC that I actually got the move I was looking for. But I made like 10 cents on my puts. So I entered these for 222. I ended up closing them out at the end of the day for 233. But this just goes to show when you have some of these really low price stocks, sometimes it just makes sense to trade the actual stock. So like shorting some shares, going long some commons, but that's okay. But yeah, you can see AMC, they announced the offering and ended up closing, down on the day, right by this 50-day moving average. So a little scalp, nothing too crazy. I got long the Boyd June 18th. calls with a 60 strike. This one's looking solid here. So if we look here at Boyd, yeah, especially it's a brand new month. One thing I was focused on was like, okay, the indices at this point, some of them are getting a little bit extended. I want to make sure that while the market is very strong, I'm basically putting out, the best players on the field here. And Boyd Gaming, in my opinion, is one of those stocks I was like, this is a really good setup. I have to take this one. Boyd Gaming bounced off this 50-day and actually closed above the 20-day moving average today. So we'll see how this one does in the weeks ahead. But I figured let me add something that's not just like more semiconductor exposure or tech, something like that. This is a little bit different. So yeah, added the Boyd Gaming. And for some stock trades, really what I was doing here, I hit a day trade in the morning. But for the most part, I was like, I just want to have my book nice and clean for April. Anything I'm looking at that I'm like, I don't really know why this is in here. I'm not like super confident. I'm like, I just want to get rid of it and either just keep that in cash or just deploy it, in a way that makes more sense. Like I took FNKO, this name right here. I took this one in the pre-market because again, I was like, the market might be strong today. FNKO, they announced that I think they took a stake in some NFT company. And I just know NFTs are pretty much like the latest bubble. So I entered this one in pre-market for $20.80. And I was able to get out of this one for profits. So yeah, this one had a crazy move. And I kind of went into it expecting this one's going to have a ridiculous move to the upside. It could easily just turn right back around. So what did I do here? Yeah, I entered for $21.80. I took half the position off for $22.90, a bit higher. Then I closed the remainder for $21.91, essentially scratched the remainder with a small winner. So that one, okay, a nice little day trade in there, great. I closed the remaining half of my Molson Coors, ticker symbol TAP, for a small winner. I had closed the other half, at a higher target. What else did we have? I stopped out of my Chewy common shares. I had paid $88 for those, closed out for $82.40. Chewy, this one, I listened to the earnings call. I thought the earnings call was fantastic. I'm likely going to add this one into the long-term portfolio. Yeah, Chewy, I don't know if it's just like premium burn, people trying to play the earnings event and, the stock's just not really going anywhere. I'll keep watching this one. Yeah, Chewy, this isn't one that I want to stick with given, two red candles. I just don't really like it. So it's like, I'm getting rid of it. Yeah, then MP, I had taken a target at $35.90. I closed out the remainder for $34.63. I had paid $34.96. This trade ended up being really just a scratch. But yeah, MP, this one as well. This is another name that I like. Maybe it goes up next week. Maybe it has a nice run. Who really knows? But MP, when I look at this, would I want to take this trade right now? Not really. So who knows? Maybe if it's strong, maybe if it gets above this point of control, different story. But I was like, you know what? I want to clean up my book. So I essentially scratched that one overall. And then another one I took off the books, PCT. I'd paid $27.23 for this one, closed out for $25.53. And I just did want to clear off everything that's not exhibiting relative strength. Because for me, one takeaway from, March is it's not always about, the trades, that you want to be in that you're not in. A lot of times it's the trades you have on the books that sort of look like they might go sour and you just don't really do anything about it. And then suddenly you're like, man, I had a couple of really nice trades and then suddenly a couple losers really negated them. So if something looks like it might be a loser, I'm just like, I don't really have any patience for it, especially after a really nice run in the market. But yeah, this one, PCT, let's take a look here on TradingView. Let's see here. Yeah, pure cycle. So you can see here, this one overall, it's been moving in the right direction. It's not in a terrible trend. But yeah, it's just a very wild trader. This one just whips around all over the place. This one, they're not going to have meaningful revenues or profits till a couple years out. So this is one of those stocks where it could go to $20 for all I know. So we'll see. This is another one. Keep it on the watch list, but just didn't really warrant staying in the portfolio. So that about does it for my trades for the day. Nice trading day, nice price action. Was able to take some winners off and then also do some cleanup. So that was good. That way I can come into next week, feeling nice and refreshed. Let's take a quick look. CNN Fear and Greed Index, we're finally at a fear level. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, now we're at a 57. Well, let's take a look at some options order flow for today. Yeah, so we have some Boeing players. Boeing is another one that just doesn't really look all that great, to be honest. So Boeing, yeah, you can see here, made a really nice sort of like blow off top here. And then we'll have to see, could this be a lower high? Maybe. We'll have to see. But I do notice this a lot where, like, if something was a winner, a lot of players, they'll really continue to chase it, even after it stops being a winner. Then this one, I would say this was the big winner in terms of stocks for the day. Applied Materials. This call buyer came in at 10.02. This name has been very, very strong. Applied Materials. You can see really nice run here. Multiple gaps higher. At this point, it's pretty extended though. But yeah, hats off to whoever caught this one. A really nice move. Then you can see some puts coming in intraday. You can see some Tesla activity. Taiwan Semi, the one that I put on. Because this one, it's just not quite as extended. Nice call buyer came in to help the cause today. Then Nvidia as well. Nvidia, another more mega cap semiconductors name. This one also looks really good. Just broke out above the 50-day moving average. It's looking pretty solid. Then you can see some hedges came in at the end of the day. Another thing, so the VIX actually filled the pre-coronavirus gap. So this is nuts. If I pull this up here, let me just zoom out. I have this marked off. Let me see. Maybe I'll just go to a weekly chart. Yeah, so check it out. This right here was when coronavirus, first became a big thing, and the VIX made a huge gap up. For the entire rest of 2020 and the beginning period of 2021, we were never able to fill that gap and get back into that range. Today was, monumental, where we filled that gap. So, we'll have to see. Maybe we finally get into that old regime of the VIX. Because if you look prior to COVID, it's very normal for the VIX to be at, a 15 level. At times when the market is, really complacent, the VIX gets all the way down to, like an 11, a 10. Really crazy. So you can see that here. Prior instances where the VIX is at a 12. So who knows? Can the VIX get back down to a 12? We'll have to see. But yeah, really interesting. That about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all have an awesome holiday weekend. Get some rest. We're going to hit it next week. And I will see you all on Monday.